But first, shops have opened today, non-essential shops for the first time in 3 months. And of course, those sneering snobs at The Guardian and all across Twitter are moaning about good, honest folk who have chosen to line up outside Primark and get our economy going again. Lord Alan Sugar joins me now. Lord Sugar, what do you make of this? To me, these people are actually great patriots because we so desperately need our economy kick-started. But there's all of these people on social media snaring and calling them names and judging them for seemingly wanting to go to Primark today.
Why are they judging them? I don't get it. The law and government has said non-essential shops are open from the 15th of June. So why can't anybody just go to a shop? I don't get it. What are they complaining about? I think what's happened in this COVID situation is that the people have been locked away so long that they're looking for clues to complain about anything. They'll complain about anything. Anything they can just criticise. It makes me sick, to be honest with you.
I'm with you. I actually feel like it's our national civic duty now to spend money if we can afford to. I totally understand there are some people who are having to be very careful with their money if they're facing redundancy. But if you can afford to, I think we have to be shopping and eating and drinking and supporting our businesses, because otherwise we're facing the worst economic crisis since the Great Depression.
Well, obviously, I mean, people can only spend what they've got. I mean, I'm not suggesting that people go out and spend irresponsibly if they're in debt or things like that. Obviously, but if someone has the money and wants to go and buy a new pair of jeans or whatever it is in a shop somewhere because they've been locked away for a while, then good luck to them. And some, the ladies, for example, who love a bit of shopping, they've been locked away for months. If they've got the money, go and spend it. And of course, it's got to help the economy. I mean, we have to get the economy going back again.
And of course, Lord Sugar, if you look at the situation in London, for example, there are now only 25 new cases of COVID-19 a day in the capital. In a city of 9 million, that's very much considered to be a manageable risk. We are coming out of the other side now.
I think so. I think there comes a stage where the statisticians need to advise the government of kind of like mitigated, loss or damage or whatever. There's got to come a stage. You cannot keep completely locked down until you've had a situation where you've had zero people come down with the disease, because this will be, and who knows, in 6 months' time, someone might come down with it again. Does that mean the whole country's got to shut down again?
No.
You've got to take a view. You've got to take a view. And look, whilst I don't agree with anything that Trump normally does here in America, one of the things that he has encouraged is that the governors of the individual states have got to take a realistic view. This place here in Florida has been open for a month. I've been going out to restaurants. Restaurants have been acting responsibly by separating the tables from people. The supermarkets have been open. We've been acting responsibly. And, sure, there's still a few more cases going on here, but I think you just got to bite the bullet. Damage limitation, really.
Well, the greatest fear right now probably is fear itself.
Well, that's it. I mean, some of the people are frightened to step out. I mean, they've got to take the risk. I should imagine that what's going to happen is that some of their colleagues or their friends have stepped out, and in a week or so's time, they'll think to themselves, well, if John or Harry or whatever has done it, it must be okay, so I'll step out. Similar here, what happened in Florida. When all the things got lifted, the place was still kind of semi-deserted. And then give it a week later, and more people came out. And now it's like normal, exactly normal.
Now, what about the 2-metre rule, Lord Sugar? Is that something they have in operation over there? Because there's a massive push by business in the UK to reduce it to 1 metre, which is the World Health Organization recommendation, to save millions of jobs and thousands of businesses.
I mean, the thing is that I'm sorry, I'm not qualified to be making statements about whether it's 1 metre or 2 metres. I think we have to be guided by the professionals. If the health authority says 1 metre, then the government should be guided by them. Certainly not guided by Lord Sugar, that's for sure. I mean, I'm not Donald Trump telling people to drink disinfectant, for example.
How do you rate how Boris Johnson has been performing? Because of course he's had a lot of the usual flack in the media, and I know in the early days you were very angry about that. Do you feel the same way today?
I wasn't angry in the early days. I was a bit angry with some of the stupid rules about not being able to go in parks and things like that.
Yeah.
Because to get 2 meters, you could be 10 meters away from somebody. So I got a little bit angry when people weren't allowed to sunbathe in an open area. But I think, generally speaking, what's happened here is we've got a government and a prime minister that has had to deal with an unprecedented thing that has never happened to this country. Certainly hasn't happened for well over 100 years. And you know what it's like. You learn as you go along, yes. Right? You have to take drastic action in the beginning, and sometimes the drastic action is a bit over the top. Sometimes it's not good enough. But I think what's happened is we've learned as we've gone along. I think the positive that will come out of it is if there is going to be a rebound in October or November or December of next year, we'll know what to do. I think, generally speaking, he hasn't done bad. It's easy to point the finger at the government. Who else are the general public at large going to complain about? Have you ever known in the whole history of your lifetime, I haven't anyway, of anybody walking along the street saying, "Oh, isn't it wonderful? Aren't the government nice?" They're always going to complain. And, that's it. That I think he's done as best as he could.
Yeah, and of course, in the midst of all of this, Lord Sugar, he also nearly died, which I think a lot of people forget at times as well. I certainly think the way that he has been treated by much of the media has been incredibly unfair. And what have you made, by the way? Because it has been a febrile time. Emotions have been running very high. You've been watching from afar. What have you made of everything that has been going down in London over the past 2 weekends? The protests, the statues coming down.
It's just the words fail me, really, because first of all, I believe the protest started because of the unlawful killing of the gentleman in America,
George Floyd, yes, in Minnesota,
which was diabolical, which was no question of it. And I think obviously the black community really kind of said this is the final straw that breaks the camel's back, and certainly here in America have protested badly. And I think they've heard them. We've heard them. Everybody's heard them. The government's heard them. And then in England, we've kind of done the same. However, one cannot help but say that when one looks at the riots going on, there are people in there who are not rioting for the right reason. There are people in there that are actually just wanting to cause damage and cause trouble and hurt people. And it's not for the reason that the original protest was set out. And I think it is time, like it or not, for the police to start to get tough. They know who these people are. They know who the bad ones are. And I think they should round them up, put them in a truck and stick them in the cells overnight, quite frankly. Yeah. Because until they do something like that, it is outrageous. And the defacing of things like the Churchill statue and other things, I think is just an absolute disgrace.
Even Queen Victoria's memorial has been vandalised, and I think you're right. But clearly, the police were so nervous to appear heavy-handed in the early days, given that the focus was the police brutality. But the point is, it was police brutality in America, not in the UK.
I know, exactly. And you're damned if you do and damned if you don't. I mean, again, you've got to take a realistic view that how long are you going to stand there just in yellow jackets and allow women and male and female police just take the brutality that is going on. You have to draw the line. And we're in an age where we have CCTV cameras. The police themselves have cameras. There'll be plenty of evidence to prove why they've actually had to retaliate in a physical way. Because, I mean, you know, there are people out there that love to jump on the political correct thing, and he pushed me, I didn't push him, he hit me, and all that type of stuff. They're just going to bite the bullet and get on with it, because until the police start to toughen up, the riot squad toughen up, nothing's going to stop.
Absolutely no nonsense, common sense from Lord Sugar. Thank you so much for being here.